Millions worship Cristiano Ronaldo's body, his fame, his trophies. They look at him and think, what's the secret? So someone finally asked him. His answer wasn't motivational, it was brutal. "I can give you the instruction," Ronaldo said. "I can write down every single step I take, but you won't do it. Not, you might not, you won't." He didn't say this to be cruel. He said it because he's watched it happen 1,000 times. People beg for the formula, they get the formula, and then they quit. Why? Because there is no secret ingredient. There's only the work. Boring, repetitive, unglamorous work that nobody wants to film for Instagram. Let me show you what really separates legends from everyone else, and why you've been lied to about what it actually takes. Think about every fitness influencer you follow, every motivational video you've watched. They all sell you the same drug: inspiration. They show you the highlight reel, the final rep, the victory moment, the aesthetic shot of someone drenched in sweat, looking photogenic. They're selling you emotion, but here's what they're not showing you. Day 47 of doing the exact same workout routine. When your body aches, when the scale hasn't moved in 2 weeks, when nobody's watching, when there's no camera, when you're not posting about it, when it's just you and the weight and the voice in your head saying, "Skip today, it won't matter." That's where champions are made. Not in the moments of peak motivation, in the moments of zero motivation. And this is where the entire world gets discipline wrong. Most people think discipline is about willpower, about psyching yourself up, about staying hungry. They think Ronaldo wakes up every morning burning with desire to train. He doesn't. When someone asked him if he wants to go to the gym every day, his answer shocked them. "Do I want to? No, of course not. Nobody wants to." Read that again. Nobody wants to. The greatest footballer on the planet, a man who's turned his body into a machine, a living legend who's achieved more than most people dream about. He doesn't want to train either. So what's the difference between him and the millions who quit? He goes anyway. This is the thing they don't teach you, the thing that gets buried under all the motivational speeches and the dramatic music and the slow-motion training montages. Professionals don't listen to want, they listen to must. Amateurs need to feel inspired. Professionals have systems. Amateurs wait for motivation. Professionals follow schedules. Amateurs train when they're excited. Professionals train especially when they're not. Because here's the truth about motivation. It's unreliable. It's a chemical reaction in your brain that comes and goes based on sleep, hormones, stress, 100 variables you can't control. Building your success on motivation is like building a house on sand. Discipline is the bedrock. Discipline is doing it when every fiber of your being is screaming at you to stop. When your friends are out partying, when it's cold and dark outside, when you'd rather be literally anywhere else, that's when you find out who you really are. And this is why 99% of people never make it. They don't lack talent, they don't lack resources, they don't even lack knowledge. They lack the ability to be boring. Let me explain what I mean. Success isn't sexy. The path to mastery is repetitive, monotonous, and deeply unsexy. It's doing the same movements thousands of times. It's eating the same disciplined meals. It's going to bed early when you're not tired. It's waking up early when you are. It's choosing the hard right over the easy wrong, day after day after day, even when nobody's applauding. Especially when nobody's applauding. There's a concept in psychology called the plateau of latent potential. It's the gap between the effort you're putting in and the results you're seeing. Imagine you're pushing a boulder up a hill. For the first 100 pushes, the boulder doesn't move. You're sweating, straining, giving everything, and nothing happens. Most people quit here. They say, "This isn't working," and they walk away. They try something else. Another diet, another workout program, another business idea. They're always chasing the next thing because they never stayed with the last thing long enough to see it work. But here's what they don't understand. The boulder was moving, just not visibly yet. Every push was creating micro-progress, shifting the weight, breaking friction, building momentum. And then, on push 101, it starts to roll. Suddenly, everything compounds. The results that seemed impossible yesterday become inevitable today. This is how Ronaldo became Ronaldo. Not through one heroic effort, through 10,000 unheroic ones. While everyone else was partying in their 20s, he was in the gym. While everyone else was eating junk food, he was meal prepping. While everyone else hit snooze, he was already training. Day after day, year after year. Nobody was watching. Nobody was cheering. There were no cameras, no endorsements, no glory. Just him and the work. And here's where it gets really interesting. This principle doesn't just apply to football, it applies to everything. Your business? It's not built in the launch, it's built in the 1,000 boring days of showing up when you have 0 customers. Your relationship? It's not the wedding day, it's the random Tuesday when you're both tired and you still choose kindness. Your body? It's not the 30-day challenge, it's the 30-year commitment. But we live in a culture that worships the shortcut, the hack, the secret, the one weird trick. People don't want to hear that success takes time. They want it now. They want the microwave version, the highlight reel, the transformation montage where you go from 0 to hero in 3 minutes with dramatic music. Real life doesn't work like that. Real life is showing up on day 97, when you've seen 0 progress, when your friends think you're crazy, when even you start to doubt yourself. That's the filter. That's how reality separates the dreamers from the doers. Most people can sprint. Very few can run marathons. And even fewer can show up every single day for years without seeing immediate results. But those who can, they inherit the earth. Think about the last thing you quit. Go back to that moment. What stopped you? I'm willing to bet it wasn't lack of knowledge. You knew what to do. It was the plateau. That awful middle section where you're putting in effort and seeing nothing back. That's where 99% of people tap out. They hit the dark days and they think something's wrong. They think they're not talented enough, not disciplined enough, not special enough. But nothing's wrong. This is the process. The dark days aren't a bug. They're a feature. They're the gatekeepers, the test, the initiation ritual that separates those who want it from those who want to want it. Ronaldo understands this at a molecular level. He knows that on the days when he least wants to train, those are the days that matter most. Because that's when he's building something deeper than muscle. He's building character, identity. Proof to himself that he's the kind of person who keeps promises to himself even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. This is the secret that isn't a secret. Consistency beats intensity every single time. The person who works out moderately 6 days a week will always outpace the person who works out intensely once a month. The person who writes 200 words daily will finish more books than the person who writes 5,000 words when inspiration strikes. The person who makes 1 sales call every morning will build a bigger business than the person who makes 100 calls in one manic burst and then disappears for weeks. Small actions, repeated. No days off, no excuses, no negotiation. This is the algorithm of mastery. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to be special to do this. You don't need talent. You don't need genetics. You don't need connections or money or luck. You just need to be willing to be disciplined when it's deeply inconvenient. Ronaldo isn't superhuman. He just learned how to ignore his feelings. When his body says rest, he trains. When his mind says you've done enough, he does one more. When his friends say come party, he goes to bed. He's automated excellence. Turned it into a non-negotiable routine that doesn't depend on how he feels. Because feelings are weather. They change by the hour. Systems are climate. They stay consistent. Build your life on systems, not feelings, and you become unstoppable. Not because you're motivated, because you're committed. There's a difference. Motivation is wanting to do it. Commitment is doing it whether you want to or not. And here's what nobody tells you. Commitment gets easier over time. The first 30 days are hell. Your brain fights you. Your body fights you. Everything in you wants to quit. But if you push through, if you white-knuckle it through the plateau, something shifts. The behavior becomes automatic. Neural pathways form. It stops being something you have to force and starts being something you just do, like brushing your teeth. You don't need motivation to brush your teeth. It's just what you do. That's what discipline becomes. An identity, not an effort. But you only get there by surviving the dark days. The days when progress is invisible, when doubt is loud, when quitting feels rational. That's the crucible. Ronaldo became a legend not in the spotlight, but in those private moments when nobody was watching and he still chose the harder path. Every single time. So here's what I want you to understand. You're not lacking information. You're not missing some secret strategy. You already know what to do. The question is, will you do it tomorrow when you don't want to? Will you do it next month when the results aren't showing yet? Will you do it next year when everyone else has moved on to the next trend? That's the real question. And 99% of people answer no. Not because they're weak, because they're human, because they were raised in a culture that taught them success should be fast, easy, and exciting. It's not. It's slow, hard, and boring. But the 1% who embrace that? Who learn to find satisfaction not in the result but in the process? Who stop waiting for motivation and start building systems? They become inevitable. They become Ronaldo. Not because they're special, because they stayed when everyone else left. This isn't a motivational speech, this is a warning. The path exists, the instructions are clear. But you won't follow them. Not because you can't. Because you'll choose comfort over growth when it gets hard. You'll choose the easy wrong over the hard right. You'll choose entertainment over excellence. Unless you decide right now that you're different. That you're the 1% who doesn't quit on day 97. Who doesn't need to feel inspired to take action. Who shows up especially on the days when showing up feels pointless. Because that's where legends are forged. Not in the light, in the dark. And if you can learn to love the dark, to find meaning in the mundane, power in the repetitive, growth in the unglamorous, then nothing can stop you. Not lack of talent, not bad luck, not competition, nothing. Because you've discovered the one force more powerful than genetics, more reliable than motivation, more unstoppable than talent. Discipline. The boring, unsexy, totally unglamorous decision to keep going when every logical reason says stop. That's the game. Ronaldo mastered it. He's trying to tell you how. The question is, are you listening? Or are you still waiting for the secret ingredient that doesn't exist?